I'm going to do here, and you can do this as well. I'm going to go to Desmos and I'm going to graph the 3 points here, A, B, and C. Then I'm going to snip that in. We probably have done that in a previous lesson, so you can always look back at the lesson notes for that. But just give me a moment here to snip this in so we can have a triangle here to look at. 4, 6 is B. And if you want to on your paper, you can make a rough sketch of this thing. It doesn't have to be to scale. It just has to be, uh, somewhat reasonable in terms of looking like the points go where they actually belong. So, all right, I got the 3 points graphed here. I'm going to snip this in to the screen.
Okay.
All right, so here you go. And good to make just a nice, rough connection of these like that. So it kind of looks like a triangle, or does look like a triangle. So median line segment AM. That means it starts at starts at A.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you know where it ends? Where is this M? Because there's no M in this figure. There's A, B, and C.
Does it end at C?
It does not. It ends on the other side. So away from A, the M is the midpoint over here. It's the midpoint on the opposite side.
Okay.
And that's the first thing to find. So I mentioned that this is a recipe. The first thing for the median is to determine the midpoint. And
Right.
the thing is though is that there's actually 3 midpoints in this triangle. There's the midpoint between AB, AC, and BC. So why do you want the one over here between BC? Because it's not the letter A. You go to the other 2 letters. So you have to find the midpoint of BC in this. So there's a couple ways to do it. The best way is to use the midpoint formula. You have that.
Yeah.
All right. Could you calculate the midpoint for us then, please?
Yeah. We're using the 2 numbers 4 and 6 and 8 and -2, right?
Yes, because those are the opposite side, B and C.
Okay,
Opposite,
gotcha.
those endpoints of the opposite side
Yeah.
there.
Okay. Would it be 5, 3?
It is not 5,3. You're adding up the X values 4 plus 8 divided by 2. And then the Y value is 6 plus -2 divided by 2.
Okay. I did the numbers wrong. I did 4 plus 6.
What's your answer, Remy?
Oh, 6 and 2.
6 and 2. All right. Now, if we go to the graph here, 6, 2 is right there. It looks to be about the midpoint. You could kind of eyeball it and be like, it looks about midpoint, but it's better to use the formula. Okay.
Okay.
So the median line is this line from A to M. It's that line right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you have to write the equation of that line. All right. Now, what the instructions don't specify, let me go back and look at it. They don't specify which equation, meaning if you go back to your course last year, there were 3 equations of the line, and you're probably using either this one, mx plus b, which is the slope intercept form. The second one is point slope form.
Yeah.
Okay. So which do you think you guys are using in class, or have you been using both, or what's
Yeah, we've been using a little bit of both.
Okay, so doesn't matter to me, but let's just pick, we'll just pick the first one for this. To write the equation of the line, you need the slope and the b value. You don't have the slope, but you could get it from the graph, doing like a rise over a run here, or
Okay.
you can use the slope formula. Which do you think you guys have been doing, or what kind of?
Slope formula, definitely, yeah.
Okay, so to find the slope formula is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1.
Yeah.
And you're going to use the point 6 comma 2, that's the midpoint, and then a. So this is where it gets confusing. It's like, wait, we used b and c to find the midpoint. For the slope, we're going back to a because a is on the equation of that line. A has the ordered pairs 0, comma 0 here.
Okay, so we don't use like A or C or A and B, just A. Like,
You have to use the 2 points on the line for the slope.
okay.
That's why I recommend drawing it, called the
All right.
median line, that you know what you're looking for. All right, so could you find the slope here between these 2 points?
Yeah, I will. Would it just be 6/2?
It is not zero. So we
Or
got x1, y1, x2, y2. Give that one more try, please.
would it be just then 2/6?
Does that reduce?
Yeah.
Okay, what does that reduce to?
1/3.
Okay, very good. Okay, so that is the slope. So if we're doing slope intercept form, we have the slope, 1/3 x plus b.
Mm-hmm.
To find b, you need to use an x and a y. Okay, like we have to pick one of these ordered pairs, and it doesn't matter which one, you just pick one. A is probably slightly better to pick, but you pick one and you put those values in for x and y. So for example, if you use the point 0, 0, 0 equals 1/3 times 0 plus b.
Okay.
Is that clear where I grabbed that point from and put those in for
Yeah.
x and y?
Yeah.
Okay, so now 0 times anything is 0. So if you move the 0 over, which you don't even need to, but b is 0, basically that is the net result here. And that goes back into this equation here. So we have y equals 1/3 x plus 0, or just y equals
Okay.
1/3 x. And that is the equation of the line.
Okay.
So there's a lot there. So
Got it.
I don't want you, I mean, I haven't worked with you a while. I could see that this would be very overwhelming. There's like a lot to do. First, you got to
Yeah.
graph it. Then you got to know which midpoint you're finding, because there's actually 3 midpoints. So you got to know which one you're finding. Then you have to write the equation of the line, which may or may not be given. Then you have to know which 2 points to use to find the slope. Then you have to find the b value. So there's like I said, there's a lot there, a
Yeah.
lot there. So I would recommend we do another median rather than moving on to perpendicular bisector.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Is there
All right.
not like any other way that you find the median line segment with like just the equation and like without graphing and all that stuff, or no?
I mean, like you can do it without graphing, but the visual really helps.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
because when you said the slope was 3, for example, like 3 means you're going up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Like you're way off. So the graph tells you, oh yeah, that's not quite right. Up 1, right 3, up 1, right 3, that's better.
Okay. All
So a rough sketch really
right.
is helpful. Really, really is helpful. I mean, I would force you as a student if you're in the classroom to make the sketch.
Okay.
I think it would be necessary.
Okay.
Okay,
Got it.
so we're going to we'll just work with this again. So let's say this time we want the median BM. BM. Okay, so which is the vertex of the median line there? If it's BM.
Um, I'm kind of confused on the BM thing.
Okay, let's go back to the previous problem. You're finding median AM. Which was the vertex?
Oh, A,
Why was it A?
because that's what it starts at. Maybe
Yes. So what is the median line? What is the
B,
vertex here?
B would be the vertex.
Right. Other point is that you don't even have an M. There's no M here. You have to calculate M. Like and assume that this is you didn't even know you did the previous problem. So M is over here somewhere between A and C.
Matthew,
M,
can you
yeah.
just define the vertex for me so I understand that?
The vertex is the place where two line segments come together. So this triangle has vertices A, B, and C.
Uh-huh.
And that could have been explicitly stated in class. Like, so keep in mind, I'm coming at this from like he's got some knowledge from the
Right.
classroom that should be reasonable. So
Uh,
the
Is uh
triangle is
is
defined by
A
its vertex.
is A and C also another vertex of the triangle, or is it?
That's a line segment. AC is a line segment. The single letter is a point. The point defines the intersection of the line segments where they come together, but the
Mhm.
vertices are single points.
But all three of those points are vertices, yes?
Yes, they're like the sharp
Right. So
places.
it's not because the B is the most vertical of the three of them or
Nope,
anything like
nothing
that.
to do with that. Nope.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So every what's called
Mm-hmm.
polygon, which starts with triangles, four-sided quadrilaterals, and so
Right.
on. These go up from there. The vertices are the outside points there.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so the median line BM, it starts at B, and there's a midpoint between A and C. M is the midpoint AC. The reason it's AC is it has to be across from the vertex. Like you have a vertex, there's something across from it.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, so A is defined as 0, 0. C is defined as 8, -2. Can you calculate the midpoint for me, please?
Formulas.
Yeah.
X1 plus X2 divided by Y1 plus Y2 divided by 2.
Yeah.
So Jesse, just so you kind of know where my head's at in the lesson, like I already defined the midpoint formula for Remy, so I'm hoping he wrote that down or has it down. That's why I didn't give
Yeah,
it
I
to him
did.
explicitly.
I did.
And you as the student here, you either memorize it or go back and look in your notes. So you've got it.
X1 plus X2. With 2 and -2 divided into 1. -1. Yeah. Okay. Would it be 4, -1?
Right.
Yeah.
So I've labeled that on the graph. So there's a line that goes from B to M like that.
Okay.
And it's good to draw it just so you got kind of a idea here. Now, this is a little bit of an exception because this is a vertical line.
Okay.
Now we're going to confirm that by calculating the slope. We're going to calculate the slope from B to M, and we're going to see that there's a problem.
Okay.
So B has ordered pair 4, 6. M is 4, -1. The slope formula, I'll put this down again, y2 minus 1, x2 minus x1. You've probably been seeing me do this. You really do want to maybe label the ordered pairs.
Can you label them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you should maybe label them on there.
Yeah. Okay. When you have two negatives, it turns into a positive, right, Matthew?
Double negative.
Yeah, double negative.
Mhm.
Okay. So would it be 7/0 or just 7?
Yeah, and that's a problem. No, so that's bad. Like 7, or you cannot divide by 0. Division
Yeah.
by 0 is a really, like, it's an awful thing to do in math. So
Yeah.
that's the problem. It's like, what does that even mean? And that's why I mentioned this vertical line is a specific case. It has a specific equation. So vertical lines, and this is covered, last year in your Algebra 1 course, they're always of this form: x equals a number.
Okay.
X equals a number. Okay. And so that number is, well, it's whatever the X value is. So what is the X value at both of these places?
Just a vertical line. I'm confused.
The X
4.
value. What's the X
Oh,
value?
4.
4. So in this case, it's X equals 4 is your equation.
Got it. Okay.
Normally we would do
You're,
the
you're
whole,
trying to figure out the slope, and because it's just a perfectly vertical line, it's just one number, and it's the X value, is that correct?
yeah, the slope is undefined for a vertical line, so it's got a special case for this. So we're going to do the other median line, which will be more like the first one.
Okay.
But these are all possible in the triangles that they're given. Okay. So here we go. Let's draw triangle again: A, B, C. And we want median CM, median line segment CM. So again, which vertice, Remy, are we starting at?
C.
C, and it goes up here somewhere between A and B,
Yeah.
which means you have to find the midpoint AB, midpoint AB, which we're calling M.
Yeah.
So could you calculate that midpoint for us,
Yeah.
please?
Would it be 2, 3?
There you go. There it is right there. 2, 3. So that's your midpoint. Always good to maybe draw that line right there. And so this one's maybe the most difficult. 8, -2 is the other point there. So the writing the equation of this line, y equals mx plus b, we first need the slope.
Yeah.
So you're going to use point M and point C to find the slope.
Okay.
What is the slope equation?
So do you have your slope formula available?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Will you calculate the slope here from M to C, please?
Yes. And the slope form is y1 minus y2, x1 minus x2, right?
So I've got it different, and but the way, like what you said will work, but it's better to keep it consistent. It's usually y subscript 2 minus y1, x2 minus x1.
Oh, okay. Y2 minus 1. Okay. Would it be 6/5? Was the
So you
slope?
miss, yeah,
Or
if you're not
5/6?
if you're not
5/6.
labeling, yeah, like, you did, so you said 5/6?
-5/6, yeah.
Okay, yeah, let me just throw these in here. -2 -3 over 8 -2 is -5/6. You got it. Okay. The next thing is to write the equation, but let's do this one in point slope form just to do something slightly different. This is
Okay.
point slope form. So the name tells you what you need. You need a point and a slope. You have a slope, check. Point. You can use either point. It doesn't matter which one you use, but whichever one you use, it's going for X1 and Y1. So it's
Okay,
up to you. You can use the positive ones, the ones down here. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use 2, 3 as the point.
okay.
So it's Y -3 equals -5/6, X -2.
Alright,
Now, the way that this is shown in your in the picture here today, it says use notes with steps if needed. Like there are steps for finding the median line.
okay,
The first step is to determine the midpoint. If you don't have these in your notes, this is important. That's what we did all along here. We determine the midpoint, and it's always opposite side to the vertex.
okay,
That should mean something now. You find your vertex, you go to the opposite side. Second thing is to determine the slope between the vertex and the midpoint. And we did that today over and over again. Once we found the midpoint, you just did that in this problem. Midpoint, there's the vertex, you find the slope between them.
yeah,
Third thing, depending on the equation you're using, y equals mx plus b. Here you have to find b. In the other one, you just write it. You have
What are you finding exactly on this third number? What is the name for what you're finding? You've already found the slope, right?
you're writing the equation
You're writing the equation for
Yeah.
what?
for the line.
For the line.
So the whole instructions are, median line equation, and that's what you've got here.
Okay.
All right. So couple examples there. Always good to go back and redo these if you have time.
okay.
All right. That is it for